Welcome to our latest webinar that is all about what's new Microsoft Teams with a big focus on the new Microsoft Meeting Experience features. Now, don't forget, if you have any questions, please post them in the Q&A, which you'll find in the top right-hand side of your screen. Now, Microsoft released a staggering number of new features for Microsoft Teams over the last 2 months, and we've gone and reviewed them all and curated them into what we believe are the top 11 features that will improve the productivity of you and your people. So let's take a quick look at the agenda and the 11 features we're going to run through today. With Dynamic View and PowerPoint Live and Presentation Mode, we'll focus on the 3 features that are really changing things in terms of your meeting experience. With regards to the new meeting management features, let me start by asking the question, is the value of your many online meetings diminishing because follow-up actions seem to fall through the cracks from one meeting to the next? So in this next 3 features of live transcription with speaker attribution, the changes Microsoft has made to where video recordings of your meetings are stored, and the meeting recap, we'll look at how we can address that. And then from share to Teams from Outlook, from that feature through to Teams Connect, we look at what we believe are the other newsworthy announcements for Teams. Now, it'd be wrong of me not to say a few very quick words about Bedrock. Now, Bedrock is a new breed of IT managed service provider. Yes, we can look after all of your IT 24/7, from the device on your desktop through to the services you'll be consuming in the cloud. But what we pride ourselves on is our strategic capabilities that will help ensure your people are the best they possibly can, helping you make the most of your investment in IT. Let me paint a picture. As a result of COVID, the workplace is evolving rapidly, and employees have now new expectations for work and how it should get done. Think about how we interact with technology at home, how we monitor our heating, our fire alarms, home security cameras and doorbells. We are used to being able to connect to these applications from wherever and communicate with them the same way we would when we're at home. We have subscriptions for Netflix, Prime, Now TV, and we take those subscriptions wherever we go and consume on devices we want. So why shouldn't we be able to do this with work? Now, business leaders need to embrace the changes occurring at home and create a new post-COVID hybrid IT strategy, which means 1, having always on access to files and data. 2, have the flexibility to work from wherever, whenever. 3, obviously staying safe and secure. And 4, and finally, collaborate in real time. So if you're in a bit of a muddle and need direction on how best to deliver this kind of IT strategy, or perhaps you just need help with one discrete element of this new world of work, then it'd be great to talk at some point. Anyway, let's get on with what's important for today's webinar and today's agenda. Let's start with the fundamental change that Microsoft have made to your Teams meeting experience, which they've called Dynamic View. Now, in this short video, we'll see how Teams uses some clever AI tech to maximize your screen real estate when you are in a meeting. Let's flip to a video I've put together that'll help explain this. I suppose it's all in the name, Dynamic View. It dynamically arranges the video feeds of your meeting attendees and the content you want to share to give you the best possible viewing experience. If you have audio only participants in the meeting, then they will be grouped separately. Any shared content will appear larger in the view, shifting the video feeds out to the right-hand side. Now, previously in the meeting, you'd have to choose between whether I see the content or the people. Now with Dynamic View, I can see both. You could also switch this gallery view of video and audio feeds from the right-hand side to the top rail, allowing you to maintain a more natural eye-level contact with your audience. You might also want to pin or spotlight the video feed of the presenter and your boss, so making it really easy to follow along and see their reaction. This will now be your standard view for all meetings, so it might be worth doing an awareness session with your users so they can take full advantage of it. Okay, there's nothing you've got to do with this. This is how meetings now look. So when you set up a meeting, bang, this dynamic view is how your meetings on your screen real estate will be organized. Anyway, fantastic. Let's move on to feature 2. Let's move on to PowerPoint Live. Currently, when you want to deliver a PowerPoint presentation Teams, it is difficult to engage with your audience, especially when you're just using a single screen. Perhaps you're at home, yeah? You cannot see your presentation notes, your script. You cannot see the attendees. You are just staring blindly at a set of slides. Now, PowerPoint Live, presenters can view their speaker notes, their slides, meeting chat, and see the participants' video all in a single screen. So let's take a quick look at a video I've put together to help us visualize this. So let's take a look at the brand new PowerPoint presenter view in Microsoft Teams. Now I'm signed in to my meeting as the organizer and I want to present my PowerPoint deck. So I'll go ahead and click the share tray icon in the top right hand corner and we can see our normal features here of sharing our screen or sharing an app, but I'm going to go straight across here to the right hand side to the new presenter, to the new PowerPoint presenter mode feature. I'm going to browse for the file I want to share, go into OneDrive, and I'm actually looking for last month's webinar deck, which is all about Microsoft Teams rooms. Here we go. Load that into the new PowerPoint presenter view mode. We're now looking at the view the presenter gets with presenter mode. It's sort of like the PowerPoint presenter view you get within the PowerPoint app as standard, but now it's built into Microsoft Teams, while all the attendees will only see the current slide you're presenting. As a presenter, I can see that slide that I'm presenting. You can see it's ringed by that red border. I can see my notes, so they might be my speaker notes. And I've got a couple of controls here. I can click through the slides down there, yeah. Equally, I've got this little controller there I can use to walk through the various slides. I can also engage in chat on this single screen, yeah. So I can use this as a Q&A while I'm presenting to my colleagues. Whereas equally cool, I can see all the video tiles for the attendees in that meeting, so I can stay engaged with them. So all on a single screen, I've got the slide I'm presenting, I've got my speaker notes, I've got the control to walk through the various slides. I can see all the attendees so I can engage with them. I've also got the ability to use the meeting chat to address any Q&A during the meeting, all on a single pane of glass. So let's take a look at the attendee experience. So I'm going to go to Gareth. He's one of the attendees, yeah, in the meeting. Now, what's his experience like? Well, that's the slide I'm presenting as the presenter. But what we can also see here is this little slide picker. So, for example, Gareth could move back to a previous slide, yeah, because he wasn't listening, didn't pick up on some adjustments to go back and review some details. But equally, he might want to be able to scroll ahead to see what's coming down the line. And at some point, he might want to go back to the slide the presenter is talking about. Now let's go back to the presenter's view. Now I can lock this feature out and stop people scrolling back and forth through the slides and therefore being distracted by simply clicking on this eye icon up there. Bang, stops attendees being able to scroll through the slides. Brilliant, super. Really tunes up the experience we get as a presenter in a meeting. Right, let's move on to presenter mode. This I referred to as the Hollywood feature. Now, presenter mode allows you to overlay your video feed over or alongside the content you are presenting. It'll eventually come with 3 modes. Yep. Initially, it'll be delivered using Standout, which shows the speaker's video feed in front of the shared content. And there'll be other kind of overlay features and like reporter mode and side by side that'll come down the line. But day 1, which is roundabout now, yeah, you should be starting to see that come through in your tenant. It'll be with this initial Standout mode. So let's take a quick look at another video that brings that to life for us. Here we go. I absolutely love Microsoft's new presenter mode feature. It is so impactful for delivering more engaging presentations. Now, presenter mode builds on top of PowerPoint Live, overlaying the speaker's video feed over their content. Now, in this case, we have Adele running the meeting attendees through some Power BI data. Nothing fancy like green screens and specialist software required. Just flick the switch when you share your deck or your content. Now, feature options will include reporter mode, which puts content above the speaker's shoulder, just like you see when a news presenter is presenting the news on TV. So let's recap. What have we seen with this new kind of meeting experience? So with dynamic view, Teams is using some clever AI to dynamically maximize your screen real estate. Brilliant. PowerPoint Live allows me to see my deck, my speaker notes, video feeds for all those attendees, and the chat option all on one single screen. And then presenter mode, the Hollywood feature, is a punchy feature that overlays your video feed on the content you're delivering. Wow. Those 3 features really do step up your meeting experience a notch or 2. Let's move on. Let's change tack a little bit and look at the new Teams, the new meeting management features. Now, whether we like it or not, we find ourselves in back-to-back online meetings. That's obvious. That's what we're experiencing as a result of COVID. But how productive are all of these meetings? Now, research from Microsoft shows that if you use all the features with Microsoft 365, you can save up to 104 minutes per week. That's an hour and 3/4, yeah, of your time you can save per week. Multiply that across the organization, you've got a great ROI. So the big question is, are you and your team making the most of the time spent in these online meetings? Is the value of your many online meetings diminishing because follow-up actions seem to fall through the cracks from one meeting to the next? So let's run the next video and see how you might improve the effectiveness of your meetings. Microsoft Teams has got a new AI-powered feature called live transcription that creates a written record of what was said during a meeting. It identifies each speaker, capturing the audio in near real time, and generates a really accurate live transcript, which you'll see on the right-hand side of the window. After the meeting, the saved transcript will be available to download, which you could use to create your meeting minutes or offer a handy way for those that couldn't attend the meeting to easily catch up. So we're going to walk through a scenario of making sure this, the feature is switched on at admin level and take a look at what it's like when we're recording the meeting. And finally, we'll look at how we can view that recording after the meeting is finished. And lastly, how we might share that recording with someone who didn't attend the meeting, be they a member of the organization or someone external. So let's start with a little bit of admin to make sure the feature is switched on. So if I go into my Teams Admin Center, look under the meeting policies and look for a policy called Global, you can see that there's a checkbox. Just make sure it is turned on for transcriptions. So to begin with, let's look at recording a meeting. Now we could just video record this meeting, which we've been able to do for a long time, and we'd use Stream as place that it's stored. And that captures everything visually and audibly. And that's definitely helpful if you're doing a presentation and you want to capture that content as well as the tone of the people that were in the meeting. But there's this new button for transcription. This allows you to capture what was said in the meeting and who said it in a single text file that's easy to read through. You'll notice that recording and transcribing are two separate functions. You can do just the one or both at the same time. So let's say I'm doing a presentation and we'll go ahead and start the recording, or we'll start the video recording. Yeah. But to make things easier for me post the meeting follow-up, I'm also going to start the transcription, and now I'll have both the video and the text file available to me for later. Next, the person that hits start transcription will get the transcript pane on the right-hand side. Now that we're transcribing, we'll notice that there's a banner that shows up for everybody in the meeting to let them know that the transcription has started. Anyone else can easily see the transcript if it helps them follow along by hitting the three dots, and they'll see a show transcript option. Apart from the transcript helping me for my meeting follow-ups, it's also great for remote users who are finding it difficult to know who's speaking amongst all those people that might be in that remote physical meeting room that I'm not part of, who might be talking off camera. Now, when the meeting is finished, the video and transcript recordings will be stored in the OneDrive of the person that started the recording. Keep in mind, this may be the organizer, or it could be someone who also has presentation rights within the meeting. Now let's have a look at viewing the meeting recording and see what it looks like from this new OneDrive location. If we go to the meeting in the Teams chat app or via the calendar, you'll see the video meeting and the transcript recording in the chat. And it's as simple as clicking on that to open it up within OneDrive. And you'll know it's OneDrive because you can see it in the URL. Any other attendees can also launch the recording from my OneDrive. So what about the transcript? Well, it's right here in the meeting chat alongside the video recording, so I can open it up. And it opens up this brand new recordings and transcript tab as part of the meeting. Another really neat feature is that if this was a recurring meeting, the transcript will have a really cool little date picker up on the top left-hand here, where you can select a date for a particular transcript. And up here at the top, you can download the transcript as a Word document and use that to build out your meeting notes, your actions, etc. Now, if I want to delete the transcript, you can do that with the delete button. But it should be noted that only the organizer of the meeting or the tenant admin is able to delete the transcripts. Now let's have a look at sharing a meeting recording with someone who didn't attend. Now I'm going to use the share button to share the recording with anybody within or outside our organization. That person will get an emailed link to the recording, which allows them to view the recording, which is stored in my OneDrive. Don't forget, the recording is not automatically shared with meeting guests outside the organization. So in that case, make sure you email the link to those people. So there we go. The video recording and the fully attributable transcriptions of those meetings stored in OneDrive make it so much easier to catch up on meetings I didn't attend or those I want to review post that meeting. Transcriptions is just one simple step forward in helping us to manage our meetings more effectively. We can now gather up all the assets from the meetings, the transcripts, the video recordings, the agenda, the whiteboards, the meeting notes we would have taken, etc., all in one place, all bundled up in one place, which makes it much more efficient for us to manage our time and manage the meetings we take part in. And even those meetings we don't attend, we can catch up on. Super, 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 super. Let's get back to this slide. Right, let me pick some things out of that video that we just looked at. When I'm a remote attendee on a meeting, I now no longer feel frustrated trying to follow along with colleagues in the meeting room who might be chatting off camera. I said that in the video, I just want to emphasize that it gives us that inclusivity. Yeah, there's no poor relations, be that if I'm not in the office, then tough luck. Yeah, I'm not going to have that kind of collaborative, collegiate kind of experience. There's other features you should look at apart from this, but that's going off a tangent a little bit. Let's focus on that one. It's good for that. Now, moving on, storing the transcript and video recording in OneDrive makes it much, much easier to share them with those outside your organization. If you've tried to do that with Stream, you know what I mean. Finally, I use the meeting recap feature all the time, especially for my recurring weekly or monthly client meetings. It becomes the single source of truth for both me and the client for what was discussed and the actions that we took. For example, one minor tweak I've made in using the meeting transcript feature is when we've agreed an action in the meeting, I'll speak out loud, action, and state what was agreed. So when I come to writing up a summary list of actions from the meeting, I simply search through the transcript I've downloaded into Word and search for the word action. This is such a value-added working practice for me. Now, that's not just the technology, that's me changing my behavior. I might feel a bit silly to begin with a new client and saying, go, action, yeah, but get over it. That will save you oodles of time just doing that kind of stuff. Anyway, let's move on to the next feature. What is it? Share to Teams from Outlook. Now, there's always content from clients and partners that you'll receive via email that needs to be shared with your colleagues in Teams. Now, Microsoft have made it a lot easier, much more obvious how you might do that now that we have the Share to Teams button in the top ribbon of your Outlook client, which allows you to share an email plus attachments in a private chat or to a channel. Let's take a look at a quick video of how that works. Okay, let's take a look at the new Share to Teams from Outlook feature. I can see the button for this feature in the top ribbon there within my Outlook client. Now I've got an email message that I've received that I want to share with my colleagues in a chat or a team within Teams. First, I select the email I want to share. Then I just click on this new button. Let's bring that across. And you type in the teams or user you want to share this with. Now this is a customer sign-off, so I'm going to go, I want it to go into a customer sign-off channel. I'll select that. I can add a message. I can choose to include or not include the attachment on that email. Obviously, I'm going to include that in this case. Click on share, and now it's gone to that channel. So now I'm in Teams, in my customer onboarding team, in the customer sign-off channel. I can see the email I've forwarded, covering message. Click on that email. There's the original email with the attachment I can drill down into. Boom. Let's move on. Let's keep the pace up. So that's Share to Teams from Outlook. Let's move on to the next one, which is out of office message. It's an obvious question to ask. Why hasn't this feature been in Teams from day one? We've always had it in Outlook. Well, I suppose the response is, well, we've got it now. So brilliant. Now, as in Outlook, you can now set an out of office message for your colleagues and those outside your organization within Teams. Your message will be delivered whenever someone attempts to reach you via Teams or Outlook. How cool is that? Guess what? I've got a video to show you how you can use it. The next new feature I want to look at is the out of office message that you can set up within Teams. If I click on my profile picture, I'll choose set status message, and I'm going to choose schedule out of office. Now I'll turn on automatic replies and I'll type in the message I want people to receive. Now I can choose to send replies outside of my organization. So if people message me in Outlook, they'll receive this same message. I can even choose to send replies during a certain period of time. So maybe I only want people to receive this message during the 22nd of April and the 23rd of April. So let's just set that up. So this is very much like the Outlook out of office message we've always had, but this now works for both Teams and Outlook. Brilliant. Let's keep it going. We've got more features to look at. Let's bring it down to history button. Doesn't sound that glamorous, but hey, if you're like me, you'll start to rely on this a little bit. Imagine you started working first thing on an important marketing document you need to get out of the door, but it's been one long day of disruptions. It's the end of the day, you're tired, you just want to spend the last 30 minutes of the day before you shoot home on that marketing document. But for the life of you, you cannot remember where it's stored or actually what the file is called. Well, never fear, you've now got your magic history button. Let's look at the video. The next new feature is an improved history back button, which you might not notice in the upper left-hand corner there. If I hover over it, I actually get the history of what I've been working on over time. So if I got distracted, in this case by the onboarding team, while I was working with the marketing team on a new white paper and I've forgotten where the white paper is stored, I can click on this link and it'll take me straight there. When you're having one of those grey moments, it's really nice to have this history button to navigate when you can't remember what you were working on or how to find it. Okay, brilliant, super. Right, I'm going to move on to the last two features I want to cover today, webinars and Teams Connect. I haven't got these different series, they are not just released, but they're coming down the line, and I think it's important that we flag them with you. Now, Microsoft announced this new Teams feature, whose position is a little bit confusing. So let's get over that before we talk about it some more. It was originally slated as an extension to live events, but it's best to think of a webinar as a normal Teams meeting, yeah, with a registration page. As you can see on the GIF that you've got playing out there on the slide. To set up a webinar, simply go to your calendar in Teams, click on the meetings drop-down button in the top right-hand corner, and you'll see three options, yeah? Meeting, webinar, and live event. Simply click on the webinar option. You'll then set up the registration page asking for the attendees' details, first name, last name, email address, and any other custom fields you want to set up that you want to capture information on. You'll then copy the link to the webinar registration page into an e-shot or post it in social media such as LinkedIn, and then you can get people to register themselves for your Teams event. And you can have up to 1,000 people in attendance on that event. That's fantastic. Expect that feature coming out in the coming months. Let's look at Teams Connect. Now, this is one of those overdue features that Microsoft's competitors have been beating them up on for a little while now. Microsoft Teams Connect allows you to share specific channels with anyone inside or outside your organization. It's a great way to break down the barriers, the walls between organizations. You can collaborate seamlessly with external partners without needing to switch from one tenant to another. You'll no longer have to set up guest users in your Teams setup. These shared channels will appear as if by magic alongside the other teams and channels in your customer or partner's tenant. How cool is that? Now expect this feature second half of this year. Anyway, that's it. We've covered all the features we want to cover. Note, there's a fact sheet for this webinar. We've talked about 11 features. There were 15. We couldn't squeeze them into 30 minutes. So if you want to look at what the other 4 magic features are, make sure you download the fact sheet for today's webinar. Now, we're always running webinars. We run one a month. The next one is the 3rd of June, which is all about end user device management. Now, we don't just do webinars on new features in Teams, which is fantastic, and it's important to keep on top of that. It's all about maximizing our productivity, but also from a strategic perspective, we run another stream of webinars, and one of those is the end user device management, which is aimed at those responsible for delivering the best possible end user computer experience. It's a practical session aimed at IT managers, IT directors, that will focus on the user life cycle of onboarding, management, and decommissioning of devices in line with the life cycle, for example, of a user. Now, there's a silly picture on that screen. It'll become obvious while there is. I want to show you a promo that we put together, which hopefully will bring the value of this webinar to life. So roll the camera. We've just opened our New York office. Yippee! But it's taking a frustratingly long time to get your new employee up and running on this shiny new laptop. And secondly, as we allow our people to work from anywhere, how do we protect your business against cyber criminals stealing your devices and data? And you're probably spending a fortune on laptops. So is your finance director happy? If this sounds like you, why not attend our webinar where we'll demonstrate how you can use Azure AD, Intune, Autopilot and ConnectWise to 1, onboard staff in minutes, not weeks, 2, centrally manage the security of your device and data, and finally, centrally track device financials. So if end user device management is your thing, or one of your things is, for most organizations we talk to, make sure you attend that webinar on the 3rd of June, practical session full of demos to help you visualize how we can address your business needs in line with what that promo video just outlined. Anyway, that's it. We're finished. Hope you got some good value out of the webinar. Look forward to seeing you in the next webinar. If we can help, you know where we are. In the meantime, look after yourself, stay safe, and have a great day. Cheers. Bye-bye.